Martin Popoff from the Contrarians back again with another episode of Reliving Old Reviews as a Useless Tool of Confusion. This is the show where we look at an old album, hear a review from boots on the ground, someone writing about this when it was exciting and fresh and new and this thing first came out, rather than all the years and decades that have passed of us talking about it over and over and over again. So it's cool to see what people would compare it to back in the day. So yeah, today we are looking at a review sent in by the great Chris Jackson. He sent me a nice batch of these. This is from Sounds 1979. It is a review of Rainbow Down to Earth. Now, I consider this my favorite Rainbow album. I always have to argue with people about this. We'll get into it a little bit, but I just love it to death. I think it's the most solid Rainbow album because there's kind of little patchy things about some of the other ones. But anyway, so yeah, Down to Earth, by the way, still have my Rainbow book, The Rainbow Story, Sensitive to Light, available. You can get this from popoff.com. And newer than that, big, thick Rainbow on Record, Run with the Wolf. This is our panel review book of every single Rainbow album with a lot of Contrarians involved, but just a big Q&A going through every single Rainbow studio album. So there's my Rainbow duology, martinpopoff.com for that. So this is a review by Jeff Barton. Jeff Barton is super famous UK legend, big hand in all this new wave of British heavy metal stuff, of course, great writer, and here he is reviewing Down to Earth. So let's see what Jeff has to say about this, whether he gets it right. I think he probably will. Okay. Lost in the Danger Zone, big heading, subheading as well, a rambling treatise on the merits and demerits of the new Rainbow lineup. Maybe he's not going to like it too much. So it begins. The old, I'm the man on the silver mountain, and the new, I lose my mind when we're making love. Compare and contrast, add and subtract, weigh and evaluate. Nice beginning to this. In line with Ronnie James Dio's departure, Rainbow's new much-touted commercial consciousness, this new LP, Down to Earth, aptly titled, as it turns out, contains no tracks with titles like 16th Century Greensleeves and Stargazer, no sword and sorcery slanted lyrics, a tight rein being kept on the quality of wild romance. Instead, we have numbers called All Night Long, No Time to Lose, and Love's No Friend, songs that adhere closely to the tried and trusted heavy rock formula of grabbing a woman, getting down, and having a really good time. Note, if you please, the all-important use of the apostrophe in the latter half of the preceding sentence. But don't despair, AOR haters. Contrary to previous reports, Rainbow most definitely haven't done a foreigner and mustered an all-out assault on U.S. drive time radio. No, the music's hard-hitting and much the same. It's just the Dio's leave-taking. Did he fall or was he pushed? Will we ever find out? And Roger Glover's subsequent arrival has made for this natural lyrical progression. To be cruel, it could be labeled regression. And being a fan of Kiss, a band that associates itself with some of the dumbest R&R words known to mankind, I shouldn't really be complaining, but somehow it just doesn't seem right, ... While on one hand, the band must be commended for keeping matters short and simple on this album, no meandering 3.5-hour versions of Catch the Rainbow, for instance, I nonetheless feel myself pining for the days of yore when even the band's more basic tracks, such as Lady Starstruck, Lady Starstruck, I mean, it's just called Starstruck, right? And Long Live Rock and Roll had an epic feel, were much more than mere rollicking good time 4-minute throwaways. So yeah, he's really, setting the scene for the reasons people think this album is this way, because he spends a long time talking about the lyrics. And I always maintain that music-wise, this album's just as heavy as Long Live Rock and Roll is. Not quite as heavy as Stargazer, because that is 6 songs and they're all rocking. But yeah, Long Live Rock and Roll's got your Sensitive to Light. It's got LA Connection. It's got Rainbow Eyes. The song Long Live Rock and Roll is a little goofy as well. So, there's a lot not to love about Long Live Rock and Roll as well, and that you could, line up against your Since You've Been Gones and Making Loves on this album. But generally speaking, it's quite a bit as heavy. But because Jeff Barton is such a, an influencer, to use a new term, that's a lot of words spent on the philosophical bent of the new Rainbow, right? Okay, still, times change and so do bands. The latest Rainbow lineup reads Ritchie Blackmore guitar, Graham Bonnet vocals, his surname spelled Bonnet but pronounced Bonnie, which partly explains this paper's inconsistent spelling of it. Roger, I didn't know that. Really? Is it Bonnet? Is that how you're supposed to pronounce it? I've never heard that before. Roger Glover bass, Don Airy keyboards, and Cozy Powell drums. And I agree with Powell's comments of a few weeks back. This is the strongest version of the band so far. In the keyboard department in particular, Don Airy making his predecessor sound like ham-fisted sing-along pub piano players. That's pretty interesting. I've never really focused on the keyboards of this band. But now that I think about it, the keyboards are really nice on this album and really cool and well integrated. Never seems particularly over the top. He's got a lot of different cool sounds that he puts in. I consider Lost in Hollywood the greatest Rainbow song of all time, and there's some amazing keyboard work in there. But yeah, it's good to have that pointed out. Not so keen on Bonnet's vocals, however, I must admit. While he's got a hell of a lot more range and variation to his chords than Dio, to my ears on this album, he tries a trifle too hard. His shouts and screams seemingly resulting from a conscious effort on his part, not as bad as John Lawton, but maybe getting that way. Track by track, then, All Night Long is the album opener, one of the unpretentious stompers mentioned earlier, and with words like want to touch you, want to feel you, want to make you mine, it could easily be one out of Simmons/Stanley songbook. Next up, Eyes of the World, a brief Rainbow Rising recollection, and Oldfield-esque intro leading into some hugely entertaining HM dramatics. Powell thundering away like he was Thor, beating Mjolnir repeatedly on Loki's skull, and Blackmore soloing in wondrously classical style. Unfortunate reference to the title of Uriah Heep album in the lyrics, however. See if you can spot it. Pretty interesting. And yeah, to me, again, Eyes of the World, I think, is better than pretty much every song on Long Live Rock and Roll except Gates of Babylon. Okay, final tracks on side one are No Time to Lose and Making Love. Enjoyable, energetic thrash and bash workouts, but they should have been so much more. Yeah, he's definitely selling them as too heavy. He's not realizing or recognizing or remembering that Making Love is kind of like an up-tempo ballad, right? But No Time to Lose is like a better version of Sensitive to Light, that Richie Whitley thing, that lay down, stay down thing he does, right? Side two starts with Rainbow Stab at top 30 success. Russ Ballard, Since You've Been Gone, or Lady Double Dealer. I'm going through all of them in my head here. We talk about it a lot in that Rainbow panel book, this whole throughput of this type of riff that he does, right? Okay, side two starts with Rainbow Stab at top 30 success. Russ Ballard, Since You've Been Gone. I can't understand why they decided to record it when Clout's rendition of the number has been such a big hit so recently. I don't know who Clout is. And I can't imagine Blackmore stooping so low as to play this live, let alone smash his strat at the end of it. It really is the pits. But yeah, it was a big hit for the band. I personally don't mind it here. I think it's a really well-written song by Russ Ballard. Sounds good the way they put it together. It's a good performance. It fits this really sort of meat and potatoes, mid-rangey production, but still vibrant and exciting production that this album has. Thankfully, matters pick up with Love's No Friend, heavy metal blues in the finest Mistreated tradition. Yeah, but way more exciting than Mistreated. I hate Mistreated. I think this is a really cool tune. Bonnet's vocals send shivers up the spine for the first time. Learn to live with a cloud above my head. Got no shame, got no pride, got no feeling left inside. Masterful, says Jeff. Danger Zone, also the title of an old Russ Ballard track, trivia fans, only this one's a Rainbow original. Follows Fast and Furious and rather familiar. Gates of Babylon style speed and ambition running hand in hand with Far Eastern freneticism. Bonnet urging the listener to take no chances in the Danger Zone. Maybe they should heed their own advice. Again, I think Danger Zone is as good as anything on Long Live Rock and Roll. Long Live Rock and Roll, I guess, has Kill the King and Gates of Babylon. I think Danger Zone and Eyes of the World are on par with those two, and Lost in Hollywood is better than Gates of Babylon. Final cut is Lost in Hollywood and at times uncomfortable amalgam of the old romantic Rainbow and the new commercially motivated band. Clever, airy keyboard work, however, and a delightfully pompy midsection. A confused and rambling review, this is, to be sure. The new Rainbow incarnation has a lot to recommend it. Similarly, this album is definitely worth listening to, but in these days of the £5 album, is it truly worth buying? After infinitely careful consideration, I can't bring myself to award it any more than than 3 stars. That should tell the tale. Wow. So Jeff Barton is not a big fan of this album. But yeah, I think like a lot of fans, I think he's more so emphasizing and preoccupied on this Graham Bonnet thing, and the fact that the lyrics are a little more street and boy girl type stuff, right? I mean, that has obviously changed, but I think there's still as much amazing cool metal on here, like I say, as the previous albums. And like I say, I like it more than Rising. I just have more use for it. I like that there's more songs on it. What is there? 8 songs, 9 songs, and then Rising has just 6 songs, right? You know, I'm not a massive fan of Do You Close Your Eyes, Run with the Wolves Okay, Starstruck. I mean, a lot of people complain about that side, right? Except for Terror Woman, right? So there you go. Lost in the Danger Zone is the title of this review by Jeff Barton. Pretty cool. This has been another Reliving Old Reviews is a useless tool of confusion. Please hit the like button, subscribe. We'd like to get those numbers up. You can join our Patreon. Doesn't cost much. And you can be part of the panels that we do. Marco sends out this cool list, you know, all the topics every month, and you can pick one and be on those panels. So those are some of our most legendary shows I think we've done. There you go. Go listen to Lost in Hollywood.